Hello. So happy to be here on First Sunday. So let's just go ahead and get started and go ahead and unite ourselves with doing 3 beautiful Oms. All right. Om. 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 Ah. So, what was our word for October? It's always the big question. What was that word? I believe
Commitment.
commitment. Very good. Thank you, Mara. That's exactly right. Commitment. And this time we used for the saboteur, we used the word duty. And I know it's kind of confusing when we use a positive word like duty as the saboteur, but in this case, commitment is the word that's going to come from our heart. Duty doesn't always come from our heart. Sometimes duty just comes because we feel like we have to, we should. It doesn't necessarily really have a natural connection to the heart in the beginning of learning about duty. Duty in itself can absolutely be an incredible virtue, but we don't always use it as virtue. We use it as I have to or I should. And then commitment is a kind of an interesting word too, because commitment is a virtue because it always arises from within the heart. And I do realize that we have a very high divorce rate. I don't want to pretend like I'm not aware of that, but when we use the word commitment, we're not always committed to ourselves first. We'll commit, like we say, I'm committed to this other person. But inside, many occasions with many people, they're not really committed in here. We will say that we are, but we aren't really. So what does that mean? That means we're doing our duty. We're doing what we think that we're supposed to do. We're showing up. We're doing what society says for us to do. But it doesn't mean that we're really coming from our heart. So people can get married and we would say they're committed to each other, but we know that that isn't always true, especially when people see other people during their marriage, or they don't want their spouse to grow as a human being. There's a lot of different things where you begin to see that the commitment wasn't there. Now, this happens to me, to you, to all of us, where we're learning about the depth of commitment. Commitment, first of all, because it's in the heart, it's not our emotions, because our emotions, remember, are in our gut. The heart is where we love. It's the power of love lives in the heart. And remember, love in this way of looking at things is expressed through our emotions. But remember that in this way, love is not an emotion. It's a force that lives and breathes and moves through everything, all things in the universe, great and small. Everything has love inherent in it. So as we teach ourselves the beauty of commitment, we don't need duty to show up. Because there's times in our life where we want to be committed, but it begins with duty. It's my duty to take care of these people. So let me just go ahead and do that. And by showing up and doing our duty, it can actually soften us. Not always, but sometimes it can begin to soften us. And we begin to really show up through commitment, through our heart, because we want to be there. And this is really hard because, commitments, relationships can be very, very difficult. And we can begin to say, well, they didn't do this, so I'm not going to do that. And, they did that, so now I'm going to do that. And we stay in a stalemate because the commitment isn't really as genuine to ourselves. And when I say to ourselves, please understand that I am not speaking about selfishness. When we do it for ourselves, eventually it becomes selfless. Isn't that ironic? To do it for yourself becomes selfless. Because there's a part of us, the highest part of us, that we're always wanting to live in is pure love. And quite often we refer to that as the word God. Not always, but many times people refer to this kind of love that I'm talking about for the self as love, as God. This is where the divine begins in all of our life, right here. It's where God or divine, divinity, love is inherent in everything. And as we know, there's a lot of darkness right now within individuals. And collectively, these individuals come together, and now we have dark groups. Groups who still, in the year 2023, feel that if we annihilate an entire population, the world will be a better place. It's a very old falsehood. It has nothing to do with love. It doesn't have anything to do with being committed to our loved ones or even to our country. It's a feeling of duty. We have to do this. We have to do this. So duty can be corrupted. Love can never be corrupted. We say it is, but it isn't. Love is always pure. It is not ever corrupt. Those are other words. It's sort of like love is like this. It's like this entity, so to speak. And then the things that glom onto it that aren't love, we say love is corrupt, or love isn't enough, or love is weak. No. Love can never be tainted. It's always pure, and it always moves through every being. But when we speak about love in this way, we're also speaking about darkness and light. So we've been talking about this where light is inherent in the darkness. It is always there. It's always there. No matter how bleak and how dark things are inside of us, we want love. Our craving for love never diminishes. It doesn't. I know it seems like it. You could walk outside and or you could just look at your phone and look at the news and you'll be like, what is she talking about? Oh, love is always present. But we don't really realize that. So that's why we're always trying to get it from someplace else, because we feel like there's darkness inside of us. And if another person comes in and they commit themselves to us, it'll wake me up and their love will make me feel better. What it does is it mixes with our love that's already inherent within ourselves. And it helps us to remember that love was always with us, because isn't that what you're giving to them? And if you didn't have that love to begin with, you think that they woke you up. Well, they didn't do that, actually. What's between the two of you made you aware that you have love to give. You've always had the love to give. We all have love to give. We make choices in not giving that love. We keep it in here, which is kind of interesting because it's the one thing that you know that everyone wants. So when we actually withhold it and all we give is some version of hate, then what we're doing is we are conscious that we have love, but it's only for those who we feel deserve love. So we don't always serve everyone. Even the word serve can put people off. Well, why would I give service to those people over there? They've done bad things. So, me, I always think about life is bigger than what my eyes can see, or what my ears can hear, or what my memory, conscious memory, has. My life is deeper than even my conscious memory. What I mean by that is there are things in other lifetimes that I think I'm probably really grateful that I don't remember. But I know that in this lifetime, there's things that have occurred that don't really make sense to me why they've happened, that are negative. But I understand that it has its roots from some other space and time. So I don't look at things like I'm being punished or I'm undeserving, or that I should punish other people or that they're undeserving, because it's kind of a painful place to live in. And ultimately, we want to diminish our pain and be able to have a deeper source of love that we can draw from inside of us and pour out. When we feel like we're actually bereft of love, like we don't have enough love, you do look around you to see, do you really love me? How many times in different relationships do we say, she never said she loved me? He never said he loved me. Did their actions say it? Well, yeah, they did this or that for me. But we have these qualifications before we even accept love. It has to look like this before we even accept it. And yet we have all this love inside of us that for some reason or another, we hold it in. Like we don't want to share it, but yet we want others to share with us their love. Yeah, go ahead and love me. But I don't know if I am going to love you. Right? So what happens is that we do things out of duty. Well, it's what you do. You get married. We'll see. And I don't know how often what I'm about to say to you happens, but I'm thinking it's quite a lot, where when a person goes to get married, they do in the back of their mind think, well, I could get divorced if this doesn't work out. I've had people say this to me, so that's why I'm very aware that it is out there, and it is a normal thing. It's not natural, but it's normal to feel that way. So the first commitment must come from us. Why are we saying yes when the truth is it's really a maybe, possibly an actual no? And if we actually knew that the other person was unsure and that they thought, well, there's always a way out, I can always get a divorce from you, that would be painful for you to know that. So I'm only saying this because, I'm not a person that wants anybody to feel guilty. And if you have any sort of that feeling from me, please let it go. I want to talk about love. Duty binds us and it can make us feel guilty. I should. And if I don't, well, I guess I'm a bad person. No, we're not bad. So love doesn't have guilt in it. So if we do things out of guilt, we're not doing it from love. We're doing it from a very low level of duty, not from love. Love doesn't have all these conditions on it. And I know so it brings us to this other thing of unconditional love. Love in itself is unconditional. We put the conditions on it. And we put conditions on every aspect of love. Well, I don't know if I should continue to love this person, like it's a bargaining tool or something. You are made up of love. I'm made up of love. It's inherent within us. It was there before we had a body. It will still be with us after we shed this body. We are that love. The God that we're looking for, I mean, we look everywhere. We look high and low. We look in temples. We look in bars. We look everywhere. We look for all kinds of lovers and all kinds of different things to find love. But it was always here. It was always here. But because we live in a way where we don't trust ourselves, or we feel guilty, or we secretly feel like we're bad or we're undeserving, then we're more prone to do things merely out of a low level of duty rather than commitment. Commitment seems like it's to another person or to a cause, and ultimately that's what it is. But in the beginning, the commitment must be from you, to you, about you. Or it isn't as real, it isn't as pure as you would like it from the other person to come to you. So commitment has to do with you asking yourself, are you committed to this situation? So we kind of live in a time now where people are living a really long time. Many of us have had parents, do have parents that live to be in their 80s and 90s, and some even into their hundreds. And they require a lot of care. A lot of care. And this is a place where I've really observed that we start to really understand the difference between duty and love, commitment, duty and commitment. It isn't easy to take care of an elderly person who's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia or something very hideous like that. It's not easy. There's not one thing about it that's easy. But since when has your life been easy? But it's about service. It's about showing up and treating that person who is now in a space that they never ever knew that they were going to be in. Treating them with dignity and with respect rather than with burdensome. Nobody wants to be touched by somebody who's feeling like it's a burden. You don't want to be touched like that. I don't want to be touched like that. But we touch people that way. There are many people who are elderly and who are suffering from a limited mental capacity. They are being treated without love, only by duty. Where is our commitment to service to others? Oh, it's just so much work. You don't know how draining it is. It's really awful. It's hard. Your whole life has had that. And that's another thing. That's right. It has been like that. And I don't feel like I should have to help somebody who wasn't there all the time for me. Okay. So the person who now has a diminished brain capacity needs you, but you don't feel that feeling of committing to service to them because they don't deserve it, because it didn't come to you in the way that you wanted it. And we really don't know what's in their mind because we don't know that that was the best that they could do or not, and especially now because they can't say it. But we have to ask ourselves, is this the best I can do? Being angry at them for being diminished? Is that the best I can do? If that's the best that you can do, then you have to help yourself here and say, okay, I realize this is the best I can do right now today. I'm so angry and I'm so resentful that I have to take care of this person when I would really rather be doing something else. And it's so hard. They're acting up, they're shouting. I can't take them out in public. very difficult for the person that's going through that, as well as the caregiver. Commitment comes from the heart, not from the mind. Commitment is not a mental thing. It's a heartfelt experience. Commitment is not an easy thing, but it's a wondrous thing that reveals to you how wonderfully and peacefully strong you really are inside. We didn't come here just to have fun. We came here to learn about love. And love is something you have to dig for. It's everywhere, but we still have to dig for it. It's in here. But we have to peel off those layers of the negative aspects of duty. We want to be committed to the least amount of harm. If when we speak and when we touch people, if we're committed to love, the harm that we cause in the world will diminish. By making an actual commitment to ourselves, to be committed to learn more about love, to be unafraid to love, to let go of the feeling that love is only deserving if people do this or that or the other thing. Because deserving doesn't have anything to do with it, because we just spoke about love is inherent in every human being. Every human being has love in them. I know we can talk about really, really heinous people who've done heinous crimes, and we can say there's no love in them at all. Because we can't see it doesn't mean that's true, because they're part of the universe. And sometimes love is buried so deep inside of a person, we don't see it. But because our eyes aren't so pure that we can't see it, doesn't mean it isn't there. Because light is always found in the darkness. So what does that mean? That means that when you hurt and you feel like nobody loves you, nobody's seeing you because you feel hurt and they're not there to help you in that moment, it doesn't mean that love isn't available, because you're available for yourself. But we're busy doing this, waiting for someone to come and give it to us. I've been waiting for years for someone to love me. I shouldn't have to take care of everybody. Why do I have to take care of everybody? Why can't they take care of me? I'm waiting for love. Why do we do this? We mistreat ourselves. And as we mistreat ourselves, we mistreat others without even realizing it. No guilt here. I don't even like that word, but I have to keep reminding you, no guilt. This is a process of learning that we have enough love to give to one another. We have enough to share. We actually have more than we actually need. And we can give it to others. And as you give it away, the interesting thing about love is it never, the line of love never diminishes. It always replenishes itself. The more that you give away, the more you end up having, until you have a storehouse of it. And why keep it for yourself? Give it away. Give it away. Give it away and every morning praying for peace for everyone. Not just for those that you think deserve it. We don't want that, because then we put limitations on love, and it teaches us that love is not everlasting, that it isn't infinite. When we say, well, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve any love. So you see, then it comes down to, like I was saying, with people who are very vulnerable, like the elderly, or like children. It's very hard to raise children. I haven't raised a child. Maybe a smidge. But loving children, loving the elderly, loving teenagers. These things are not supposed to be easy. Or they would be. Love is one of those things that it heals. It's the power to heal. It's the power to heal. It's always there. We just have to stop waiting for it. We have to stop waiting for someone to give it to us. When you have so much of it, if you give it away, you'll start to feel that you even have more than what you thought. Give it away. Give it away. If you see somebody homeless on the side of the road, just pray for their peace instead of sending a criticism to them. Every time we send a criticism to anybody, it's real and it impacts them. Every time we send love to somebody, it's real and it impacts them. Because thoughts they're not conveniently housed inside your head, and they don't hurt anybody, not even you. They hurt you and they can hurt others. They can strengthen you and they can strengthen others. So as we are committed to our own spiritual growth, we become more aware that love isn't about deserving. It never has been. It's about realizing that it was always there, that it's another word for the word that people use, God. Same thing. Same thing. Love is free, and it's freedom. Guilt, duty, obligation, when we withhold love from those things, they hurt us. And it blocks love from flowing naturally. The nature of love is to expand. You know, our universe is expanding. If you look at the scientists will tell you that the universe is expanding. And that is us too. Love expands, it grows. You can't cap it. We have this illusion that we only have so much love. I only have so much love to give. No, it's not true at all. But we have to become aware of treating ourselves in a really good way. We all mistreat ourselves. We mistreat ourselves by not allowing love to flow through us. So commitment is about inside of us being committed to service, and not resenting that other people may need your help. Because you don't want that in your future, where there's a time when you need help, but somebody feels like you're a burden, or you're unworthy, or you're undeserving. None of us want that experience. So, of course, we have to use discernment on how does this fit in my life? And if you can't actually be there and give it a really big capacity, like I said, don't underestimate the power of your mind with your heart. And these two things work together. You can send out the most powerful message that affects the world. And the more we practice love and sending love, the more we experience that what I'm saying is real. It's not a belief. There's nothing to believe in here. It's about experience. Love doesn't require belief. It's about experience. Allowing yourself to open up. To remember that love is the one thing that you want more than anything. And you already have a boatload of it. But it's about expressing it. That's how love expands. It's the expression of love. How do you express it? Do you express it through words? Do you express it through your actions? Both? Today, how are you going to express your love for your own beingness? Because if you think really icky thoughts about somebody else and you just think, oh, they're such a burden, oh, da, 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 then you have missed an opportunity to feel love flowing through you. So for me, if I feel those thoughts coming in my mind, like, oh, I let myself know I'm cheating myself here. Because I don't have to feel like that. But I have to first become aware of it. It's always awareness first. Awareness that we're cheating ourselves out of love. And go, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to feel this way about this person. I don't have to judge them. I don't have to. Oh, yeah, you should. You should. Yeah, judge them. They're bad. No, it's a choice to judge harshly a little bit or not at all. It's a choice. And the more harsh is our judgment, the more then we feel that love is something that maybe is only about deserving. Who deserves it and who doesn't? But again, we all have love inherent in us. So then why do we have to love one another if we all have it? Because that's how human beings become humanity. In order to become humanity, we all have to wake up as human beings. Wake up to the power of love. Humanity, humanitarian, has to do with sharing with one another and to know that we all have a relationship to one another. So people who live in other countries where there's war right now, they need our thoughts. They need our prayers. So every time somebody says that's not enough, I just want to tell them, if that's all you have, that's enough. If you don't have money to give, you don't have blankets to give, you don't have medicine to give, you have still love to give. And you don't even have to leave your house. If you stay in your home and you focus on sending love rather than, but they're doing this bad thing, they're this, they're that. Instead of that, you go, okay, wait a minute. What's missing here? They've forgotten they have love, just like I forget I have love. But as I see that in them, I see it in myself. So today, I'm going to send them love. I'm going to send them love. Because the only way that we can really change is by feeling love. And right now, our planet has more criticism in some ways than love. But love will never die, because you know in your own life when things aren't going well, and then they do, and you start to rise out of a bad time, you begin to feel the power of healing, which is the power of love. So every dark moment in your life has this bud of light that's in it. And as you go through those dark moments, this light is pressing on it to come shooting out. That's your healing. But the healing was always there. You have to dig inside of yourself and find it, just like I do, just like you do. If you want to help yourself to not feel so overwhelmed, let go of the feeling of I have to, that duty. I have to. Ugh, they expect me to do this. Brrr. All of those things are unconscious choices. Still choices, but we don't see that there's an actual choice where we can actually do the same task without all that resistance. So when somebody needs our help and we have all this resistance to helping them because they've been this or that, or they think this way, or they vote this way, or whatever it is, it's a choice. It might be unconscious, but it's a choice, and you're choosing to withhold love. Remember when COVID was really big? Remember that? I'm not saying it isn't here, but remember when it was really big? And you could see how difficult it was for us to love one another. The whole world had it. And it was so difficult for us to love one another. There were people who were saying things like, well, they're old, let them die. Where's our humanity? We couldn't come together as humanity because as human beings, we've been neglectful to nurturing the love within ourselves. So we began to make up excuses why we shouldn't love one another. That it was okay to say mean things to one another. It's true. Where is our humanity? It's in here, and it's a choice. When other people are sick, whether it's a virus or it's whatever it is, why would we be angry and weaponize it in some way through politics or religion? Why would we do that? It's unnecessary. It's a choice to do that. When we're in dire straits like that, we don't need to judge people. We need to send them love. Because love is a power, it's not an emotion. In order to get things to change, we have to spread love amongst us. So think about it. Think about people are out there, they're hurting. And we're in our convenient little spaces here, blessed, not thinking that they deserve love. I'm not going to send love to them. Did you know what they did? No. The shoe could be on the other foot. And you and your loved ones could be treated like that. Me and my loved ones could be treated like that. So when we put it like that, then we realize, oh, that's not right. That's not a really good thing to do. So again, I say this because it doesn't really take a whole lot to express love. You really don't have to go out of your way. You're already out there in the world. You're already mingling with people. Even if you're on the freeway, there are people in the car next to you that are suffering. But if they make a driving error, oh my God, they don't deserve to be treated well. In fact, they deserve me being up right next to them and showing them how bad they are. It's a choice. It's a choice how we treat people. Well, those people over there, they keep talking about, how mistreated they are. If they would just stop complaining all the time, they'd be a lot better off. It's a choice. Do we have to say that? Do we have to put that into the airways? Do we have to live with that? No, it's a choice. It's a choice. And we have the privilege to live in a country where we really can make a lot of choices that other people cannot outwardly. So it's important for us to be committed, not obliged to be good, because that will never work. You don't have an obligation to be good. You don't have to be good. It's a choice. Sometimes people don't want to be good because they don't think it's powerful. But that's because they haven't been introduced to the power of love. When you're introduced to the power of love, you never want to give it up. The awareness of it is so great inside of you. All you want to do is foster it. You want to nurture it. And you know that that's hard work. It's not easy. Because there's always these limitations and blocks and all these belief systems of who deserves it and who doesn't. But when we start tearing those things down inside of us, we start to have more space, more capacity to be a human being rather than a personality. And the more that we have human beings and we have personalities, we're closer to humanity, to being humanitarians, to loving one another. And to love one another without people even like recognizing us for it. Maybe, you go ahead and you help somebody, but you never ever tell them about it. It's beautiful. If you do tell somebody about it, it doesn't diminish it. It's still there. It's just the choice in the moment. How do you want to spend your moments? Withholding? The more that you withhold, the more that you're not experiencing love. And then you do things out of duty. I have to take care of my elderly parents. And it's horrible. And even if you didn't feel like you had to see them diminish like that is horrible. So if you have a task like that, remember that it's your choice on how you want to go through it, because they can't help themselves. Their choices are this big now. And when people get diminished like that, they can resort to anger because that's all they have left. Because anger doesn't take thinking, processing. Anger can arise out of extreme frustration. And when people begin to become aware that their capacity for their mental well-being is being limited, they begin to be afraid. And fear can make us angry. Stay away from me. I say this to you so that you have compassion for the people that are reacting to you like that you're trying to help. You have to see that they're the ones whose capacity has been diminished and understand that they don't think like you do anymore. With children, you do that. And again, we tell them, you know better. Why do you do that? What's wrong with you? How many times do I have to tell you this? They have limited capacity to understand. But what's our excuse? We don't have limited capacity like that. We've just chosen not to listen with our hearts. We don't have to tell people that they're ridiculous or that why are they being so bad. We don't have to do that. It's a choice. Committing to ourselves, committing to the practice of love, that's what we do every first Sunday. That's why I show up here. That's why you show up here. Is so that we could remember that we're human beings. And as human beings, we belong to the word humanity. We are one big family, whether we like it or not. You may say the people that I'm related to blood-wise, I don't like them, and they don't like me. And so you like the people that you don't share blood with, but you do share blood with them. Because we belong to one big family called humanity. And you can see how we decide, we choose to love someone or not to. whether we're related to them or not, whether they live on the other side of the world or they live with us. Love doesn't mean that loving them doesn't mean you're their servant. You have to love yourself in a way where you treat yourself with dignity, so you know how to give without harming yourself too. This is where people start talking about boundaries. I set up boundaries and all these things, and I'm just not fond of that word, so you won't hear me talk about it that way. But it's fine to speak like that and to think like that, because we have to learn these things. But for me, it's about the self-control, helping myself to understand that the other person really doesn't want me to interfere. Of course, I don't want them to interfere with me either. So give in a way that they can receive. Always think about that, give in a way where they can receive it. We don't need to interfere. We don't need to judge them and go, well, I told them what they should do and they don't do it, so there you go. I know, we're all familiar with that, right? So you see, that's why I keep wanting to say to you, no guilt. We're students. We're not teachers. We're students. At least I am. I'm a student of love, observing love, renewing my commitment to love, so that I can live with more joy in my heart and be a free person. So I'm not stressed inside about how bad people are. Because right now, I hear in my office, a lot of people are coming in and telling me how bad everybody else is. I always think it's interesting. We always talk about how bad everybody in the world is. Well, everybody, that means you too, right? That means me too. Everybody includes me too. So we do have to have a sense of humor about this. We really do. It becomes so serious that then we start to feel guilty. And this is just not right. There's nothing here to feel guilty about. This is all about overcoming and understanding that love is strength. And love helps us to be more discerning. Because when you come from the power of love, you want to discern, how can I help this person over here? Well, I can't. I don't know them. I would be interfering if I went and walked over there and da 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 da. But you can send them love. This is my big thing. Is most of us, most of the time, forget the power of the mind and the heart together. To be committed to these two things as one. Being committed to your own sense of love makes you more generous with sending it out. It makes you remember to send prayers. And the people that say prayers and thoughts don't matter, well, send it to them and let's see them change too. Send it to everyone. And you can even be specific about it. Maybe you have a favorite cause. Maybe children are your favorite cause. Then in the morning, think about a prayer that you want to send for all of the children to experience love today. For them all to be fed, not only with food, but with love. Not only with medicine, but let them be seen. Maybe your favorite cause is the elderly, the sick, or people who are filled with hate. Don't forget them. And one of my favorite prayers is, the Ganesha prayer. Lord Ganesha, kindly remove the obstacles to peace, peace, peace. But, I send it to Mr. Putin because I feel like I don't want to interfere. I don't want anything to do with anybody's right or wrong or anything like that. But I feel like if people in that position thought about love first, we would have peace. So it's important for us, all of us, to develop more of a commitment to love. Lessen our duty, our sense of duty. It binds us after a while. Duty is good, don't get me wrong. But it can make us, it's expressed in a way that's not good. It's expressed in a way where it's my duty. You know, I have to. Who else is going to do it? I'm the only one. And then, of course, it can make us sick because we're overdoing. Watch your own capacity. You see, you have to be committed to yourself. If you're over giving, stretching yourself, then you have to come back home and you have to heal yourself inside and go, am I over giving, or am I overthinking and thinking that I'm being mistreated because I have to give? Because you don't have to give. There's nobody standing around you that says you have to give. There's nobody standing around you that says you have to love. You do not have to do anything, ever. So we don't really overgive. It's just that we don't give purely. When you give purely, you're not going to overdo it. You're not going to harm yourself, because love will always replenish itself. But when you give out of obligation, you give out of duty, and the whole time you're suffering from resentment, you're really not giving love. It's all tainted with resentment. And we have to become aware of these things so we have more energy, more capacity to think more, with more discernment, to be able to love without having to remember that you did something for somebody, you know, to love and then forget about it. And then just keep doing it again and again and again. So to me, commitment has to do with the commitment to love, the commitment to taking care of our heart. And as we take more care of our heart, then it's easier to love others, you know, rather than being so like impatient, like I said, like with a child or with teenagers. Oh my gosh, they can push our button in you know, half a second, maybe a quarter of a second. I say they, it's not like we haven't been teenagers ourselves. We, as teenagers, can push people's buttons, you know, right away, you know, that, and that arrogance that's there can really make it so that you don't want to give to them. And they say, I don't want you to give to me anyway. I could do this all on my own. We know they can't. But then we say, sure, fine, go out, do it on your own. It's just baloney. So we have to step back from them. And don't ever think that you can't go into another room in your house and say, Ganesha, please remove the obstacles to my teenager to peace, peace, peace. Oh, and while we're at it, kindly remove the obstacles within myself, with my teenager, to peace, peace, peace. Help yourself. Help yourself. Help yourself. Because as you help yourself, you're going to be much more willing to help others. It's not about me first. You live with you all the time. So your responsibility for love is, first of all, right here. You already have love, but you have to share it with yourself. If you don't share it with yourself, it's going to be much more difficult to share it with others. So you share it with yourself by helping yourself to overcome the things that you have really felt slighted about, that you keep going over and over and over about, that you did something really, really bad, and that you really don't deserve love, or it's unforgivable. You keep treating your own wounds with love. Help yourself. Help yourself to treat yourself to love, to treat your wounds to love. Have compassion for your own pain. And by doing that, it makes you so much more aware of other people's pain. And it makes you more aware of your desire to move that compassion from you out to others, to move peace out to others. It does. It makes you more aware of that. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want human beings becoming humanity. So that the human beings become humanitarians. It means this is our family name. That's our family name, humanitarian. It is. So we want to help ourselves to know that we are all one big, beautiful family. And that the big family operates just like the individual families do. And if you're saying, well, I don't even have a family, I don't have family. Okay, you still have you. You still have you. And there's still people that are around you in some way or another. We're all related to one another. We just think it has to do with DNA or blood, as they say. For me, I realize that I've been in many bodies. Am I with the same people? A few of them, of course. I'm with you. I think of us as family today because we're talking together about love. We're all focused on love. So to me, that's family. And then all of you have people that you regard as family. So in my prayers, I do ask, for all the people that I'm going to see today, I pray, kindly remove the obstacles for each person that I speak to today, to their peace, 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 and kindly extend it out to their families, to their animals, to their friends, and their associates. Why not? You got the extra 2 seconds to do that. It doesn't require a lot of energy to do that. You're not losing anything in yourself, but you're gaining space where you could breathe better because you have more space. There's more space to love, more space to heal, more space, getting rid of the clutter in here. Doesn't take much to do this. And as you learn to do this, you'll find that you want to do it. I'm just going to want to. Instead of saying, these people are so bad. Everybody's so bad, 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 bad. You see that energy goes out. And it doesn't help anybody. If it did, I would encourage you to do that. You need to put that out there. Tell everybody how bad they are. Yeah, the world needs to know they're bad, bad, bad. No, it's ridiculous. But yet, here we are doing it. No, what we need to learn is that we are love. And that we have a much greater capacity to give love than we could ever even begin to imagine. And the more that we practice love and we're committed to love, we have more peace inside of ourselves. And when it comes time for us to leave our bodies, because it will be a time for each of us at some point, it'll feel good. And you want it to feel good, because that's where your future begins. Your future and your next journey. Because it doesn't end just because you don't have your body anymore. You are still enveloped with love. The only thing that you're going to miss that goes away from you is your body. What I mean by miss it, it's going to be away from you. You, who you are, remains. And how you are in your mind and in your heart is going to determine the quality and the duration of your journey in the next world. And when you return here in your next life. So that brings us to the word for next month. So I always have the same word in November, virtue force, which is the word gratitude. And the saboteur for gratitude is resentment. So I always use gratitude because I like to piggyback on the fact that we all are saying the word Thanksgiving. You see, why not? Why not get on the bandwagon? And people are already in the mood for saying the word Thanksgiving. Thanks, let me give. Thanks, let me give. Gratitude. It's the month of Thanksgiving. So it's an easy one, really, but make it deep. Make it deep. Let yourself really not only be grateful for the obvious, but ponder on, are you grateful for the things that are difficult? Because in those difficult things, in the darkness, is where the light exists. And our job is to extract that light out of the pain. We all crave healing, which is love. Healing is another word for love. And healing is necessary because it comes from darkness, it comes from pain. Healing and pain are always together. It just depends on where you put your energy, which one you are experiencing. So, I know, he's just restless. So, very kindly, let us focus on gratitude this month. And we're going to do 3 ohms together. And if you want to stay for a few moments, we can do some questions too, okay? So as we do our 3 ohms, really allow yourself to consider that it's coming from deep inside of you. It's moving through you, moving through the pores in your skin, through your house, out into the world. Okay? Think of yourself as light, because you are light. When we do our ohms, we're spreading it out, a vibration of love. Oh. 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 Thank you for being here today. Peace be with you. Namaste. And those of you who want to stay, please do.
2 comments. Well, Becky said this goes so well with the teaching. God separated himself from himself to love himself.
Oh, Becky, you're so deep. Did you hear that saying? God separated himself God separated himself from himself to experience himself, which is love.
And then the question is, what if they say they love you, but actions don't show it?
Oh, the other question is, okay, what if somebody, you want to just close the door? He's going to be fussy. There we go. I'm sorry, will you say that to me again, dear?
What if someone says they love you, but actions do not show it?
What if someone says that they love you, but their actions don't show it? Have you ever done that? Whoever asked me that, have you ever done that? I have. I've said I've loved you when my actions didn't show it. And the other person has said, it doesn't seem like you love me. So what are we waiting for? Love anyway. Love anyway. It doesn't mean that you have to. Don't mix up love with some sort of groveling, emotional kind of thing. Ponder on what love really is. It's not an emotion. We can love someone, but not be in the same relationship with them. I was married and divorced. I still love the man that I was married to, but there's no possible way that I could have continued to live with him. No. I had to work it out within myself, heal myself, and not use him as a scapegoat as to why I can't love anymore or I'm afraid to love. No, love never hurt me. It was our bad actions together that hurt me. Love never hurts us. It doesn't have the capacity to hurt us. It is a force of healing, of light. So if somebody's telling you that they love you, but they don't act like it, you have to ask yourself too, am I doing the same thing? Because I've done it, and all of you have done it in some way too. So I say this to you so that, again, we have no guilt. We don't have to blame. We just have to remember that love doesn't have this, you deserve it and I don't. Or they're saying this, if you know that this person's actions don't show it to you, then how are you loving you by staying involved? You have to ask yourself, do I love me and do I mean it?
Diana said that she listens to a podcast called My Unsung Hero, and it's about acts of love.
Oh, Diana, listen.
Can I share just a second about that?
Yeah, do. Tell them what it is first.
Okay, so you can get it on anywhere you get podcasts, and they're 3 to 5 minute little stories that people narrated themselves, where somebody's come into their lives and loved them and helped them in some way. Lots of times it's strangers, and it just changed their lives. And I just think it's so uplifting, and you can listen to it, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes.
And what's the name of it?
My Unsung Hero. It's by the same gentleman that does The Hidden Brain. He has a beautiful Indian name that I'll probably slaughter. Vedante is his last name, I think.
Very good.
It's really precious. I recommend it if you need something uplifting.
My Unsung Hero.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thank you for that. See, that's spreading love.
That's spreading love.
That's spreading love. Absolutely. Do we have another one?
Yeah.
Anybody else have a comment or anything? Yeah, so this is our work, right? Healing. Because you can use the word healing in place of love. Really. And I love that kitty cat there. We gotta love all of our furry friends, right? I appreciate that you're here on Sundays, really. When we finish this, I feel kind of buzzy. Talking about love. So I thank you. Thank you very much for being here. Peace be with you.